So Erev Tov, good evening to everyone. We're beginning to be our tonight's shir in the Dvar Malchus. We just mentioned a very lengthy talk about the present situation, and Hashem should give us an immediate didan notzach, an immediate victorious, with no casualties whatsoever. And it should all be on a good and revealed basis with the revelation of the Rebbe Shlitah Melech Mashiach immediately now. In the Dvar Malchus tonight, in the hard copy, we're on page 304, the right-hand column, Ois Daled, letter 4, letter Daled. In the PDF file, whoever has that up on their screen, so we're on page 6. Page 6, the same right-hand column at the bottom, the Ois Daled. And the Rebbe begins and says as follows. V'yesh l'kasher zeh in Parsha Shavua, and we need to connect everything that we were talking about. And just to remind everyone, what Parsha, what Dvar Malchus we're handling, we're in the middle of. This is the nuclear, the nuclear peace treaty that was being signed then between the United States and Russia, and how all the money that was being put forth for weapons of war will be redirected to supplying food for those that are in need of food all over the world. And literally, the Rebbe mentions that on the UN building, it is written very in bold letters that v'chitetu charveiseim li'itim, and they will beat their swords into plowshares. And the Rebbe relates to this as we've been studying till now, and we continue. And all this, the Rebbe says, needs to be connected with Parshas Shavua, the portion of the week. What was the portion then? Mishpatim, Parshas Mishpatim. Ve'ela Mishpatim, and these are the laws, Asher Tosim Lifneim, that you will place, Hashem tells Moshe Rabbeinu, that you will place before them, before the Jewish nation. Umefarish Rashi, and Rashi explains, Ve'ela Moisif al Rishonim. Ve'ela, with the letter Vav, comes to add upon the first laws that were already given. Because the first laws, the 10 Commandments, first and foremost, they were already given before these mishpatim, these laws that we're speaking about in this week's portion. And therefore, these laws, the Torah comes and tells us, are an addition, and they were already given at Har Sinai together with all the 10 Commandments. It's not something new. It's one integral part of all the commandments of the Torah, all the laws of the Torah. Lifneihem, what does it mean to place before them? V'loi lifnei goyim. And we should not place our laws when we have disputes. We do not go to the courthouses, the courts of law of the Gentiles. And even if we know one law that the Gentiles in their courts of law, they judge with the same outcome as we in our courts of law, so what would be the difference? What would be the problem? It's going to be the same. It's going to be the same verdict. So, what would be a problem to go and to have this judged in a court of law by Gentiles? No. Rashi comes and brings that. We are forbidden to bring our disputes to their courts of law. Period. Whether they judge the same verdict or not. And definitely if not. But it's all the same. We are forbidden to go and to bring our disputes to the courts of the Gentiles. The content of the portion of Mishpatim is who Kishma, as it is called, Dinim shebein Adam lechavere, the laws between one person and one's fellow person, shechiyuv muvan b'seichel Adam, that we are obligated, that we feel the moral obligation, and these are justified even according to the intellectual understanding of the human being. Not to kill, not to steal, and so on. Dvarim ha'amurim b'Torah b'mishpat she'ilu lo yinemu hayu kedai la'amran. Words, the Rebbe continues to quote, words that are stated in the Torah in a manner of a law, that if they were not mentioned in the Torah, it would be appropriate to go in to mention them, to say them. As we see in all the Western world, they don't base their laws on the Torah, but there are so many laws that are totally understood and totally regarded as a must, that they also have the same laws in their courts of law. And to the extent that if the Torah Chas v'sholom was not given, we would learn modesty from the cat and not to steal from the ant. And more than this, the Rebbe says that there is a place to go and to obligate these laws upon human beings, and not only according to our intellectual comprehension, right, of the Jewish people, of Bnei Israel, of the children of Israel. Why? Because we are Am Chocham v'Novim, because we are, as the Torah states, a wise and intellectual nation. But this is also understood in the minds of the nations of the world. To the extent that it can be possible that in certain laws, in regard to certain laws, the nations of the world judge in their courts of law the same as the laws of the Jewish people. And we must say that therefore it is stated at the beginning and the commencement of the parsha, ve'ele hamishpatim, and these are the laws, af elu misinai, that also these laws are from where? From Mount Sinai. They were given from above, heavenly given. They're not according to, they weren't given because our minds understood that this has to be. No, they are also Misinai. That also the laws that are obligatory according to the mind of the human being, we are commanded to observe them, not because the mind comes and tells us that this is the right thing to do. But it is because of the commandment of the Holy One, blessed be He, that this is the sole reason that we observe these laws, these commandments, despite the fact that it also corresponds with our intellectual comprehension. But it's the will of the Holy One, blessed be He, that these particular commandments should be understood also in the intellectual comprehension of the human being. But the reason that we observe them, is only because Hashem commanded so, because Hashem said so. Umishum ze tosim, and because of this, we have that which Rashi mentions, that the Torah mentions, tosim. Moshe Rabbeinu is commanded to place Gama mishpotim, also the laws, lifneihem, before them, before us, before the Jewish people. Dafka, specifically, veloi lifnei goyim, and not before the nations of the world, not before the courts of law of the Gentiles. Even though they, the nations of the world, in these particular laws, might also judge according to the law of the Torah, according to the law of the Jewish nation. Because their laws, the laws of the nations of the world, are only because the mind, the intellect, obligates them. But the moment that it's different, the moment that their intellect understands differently, they can wake up the next morning and judge vice versa. The exact opposite, chas v'sholem, the opposite of the law of the Torah, because it's all based on their mind mind track, their intellectual comprehension of what's right and what's otherwise. And this is needed. This is something that we are commanded only through the fact that Hashem has commanded us to do so. And when Hashem commands to do something, so there's no changes at any given time in the history of the creation, or at any given place in the entire creation, can never change, because Hashem is Ein Sof, Hashem is infinite, and so also His wisdom, the wisdom of the Torah, is infinite, and it does not bear any change at any given time or any given place. I think for tonight we'll end here at Ois Hey, and Yechi Adonenu Moreinu V'Rabbeinu Melech HaMoshiach L'Olam Voed. We should only have good and positive and revealed goodness from now on. Teichif Miyad, like we said, with the Dida Notzach, with the victory in the war, with no casualties, all the people that were taken hostage returned healthy, safely, and immediately, and we should have the biggest and the best that we're waiting for, the revelation of the Rebbe Shlitah Melech HaMoshiach on a good and revealed basis. Teichif Miyad mamish mamish mamish. Yechi Adonenu Moreinu V'Rabbeinu Melech HaMoshiach L'Olam Voed.